Well, hello again, and g'day, mate, to everyone down under. Firstly, this is a Butlers 3D printed resin model of the M107, 175 millimeter howitzer, or gun, as I should say, as it's a long-range artillery piece used by the Americans for many years, and now the Malagasy WHATIF forces in Nam. This is a 1 in 72nd bolt action 3D print from the interweb. This is the ACAV converted just with the main turret. And this is an S&S Models 1 in 72nd M548 transporter. Now, the M107 and M110 series of weapons, the 175mm here and the 8-inch M110 or M110 were mainstays of the American artillery through the 1960s. I was debating whether the Malagasy WHATIF Nam forces should have relied on the Americans for long-range fire support, or whether they should have had their own. And someone hopefully steered me in that direction, that they could have had their own, and of course provided their service to the ANZAC, to the Australian and New Zealand contingent. So that's the way that my WHATIF world has developed. Now, this piece is a 3D resin printed model from Butlers Printed Model. So I like the 3D printed stuff. You do sacrifice some underhull details, but for ease of assembly and for overall detail, I think it's absolutely perfect. Now, the M107 or M107 has a very, very long barrel. It was a very long ranged weapon. It was one of the longest ranged weapons of the Vietnam War, and enabled the Americans and the Malagasys in this case from their fire bases to reach out and touch some of the North Vietnamese and Viet Cong positions. So overall, as you can see there, the length of the barrel is almost double the length of the vehicle. This is the spade at the back, which digs in for the recoil, because these are large projectiles with lots of power to propel that shell a long way. Now, the 175mm weapons pretty much were phased out after Vietnam. The chassis, of course, could be converted to the 8-inch M110 or M110, and then they served in various roles into the 1990s, being replaced by the MLRSs. So generally you have one gun. You have a M113 for the crew, and then you have an M548 for the ammunition, and that's the kind of setup I've got here. Vietnam, of course, you have to get these to the firing posts, and that's where they're most vulnerable. Once they're in the fire bases, they're not so vulnerable. It's during road movement that these are targeted. These aren't mine-proof vehicles. The crew, apart from the driver, rides in open conditions. The M548 is unarmoured, hence the M113 to give the crew some protection when they're moving around. But you'd have 2 of these per gun section, 6 per battery, but these are really big assets. So these are called in when the effect of extra long range fire is needed, or when the 155mm that is the general support weapon isn't enough. I hope you've liked the video. This is another kind of what if model based on a real thing. It's on a coastal kits base. Of course, these would be dug in fire support bases around Vietnam, but there you go. Take care. Bye.